Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise. Such heroic nonsense.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Transformers, the podcast, episode 3. I'm your wonderful host, Callista Valentine. Joining me for a special 35th anniversary of the Transformers, the movie, is the wonderful host of Toy Grind, Mr. Thew Adams.
Hello, what's up?
And joining me from a couple of geeks is Spyk.
Evening, how's it going? You right? Yeah, me too. Cool. Right.
Hey!
I can't believe none of us said bar weep, grana weep, ninny bong. We should start again.
Yeah, I think maybe we should roll it back. You go with it because you say it so much better than me.
No, I'm good.
Right then, as we said, it's a 35th. There, get my words out, girl. Yeah, teeth in. 35th anniversary of the Transformers the movie. The day that this episode is airing will be December the 12th, 2021. The film was released in UK cinemas on December 12th, 1986. So, we'll talk about kind of first memories of the film. Me and Thew, we've talked about this on a previous episode, actually episode 1, so a few weeks ago. So, we'll throw it over to Spyk first so you can share your memories of your first encounters with the movie.
I actually remember going to see it at the Warsaw town near me, ABC Cinema. I don't remember, like, I'd have been 5 years old when it came out. So I'm old, but not that old.
You're vintage, hon.
Yeah, I'm retro, that's what it is.
Yeah. Retro chic.
And a perfect nostalgia crease.
I remember really loving it because of, like, all of these big voices that I'd seen on the little screen in various things as well. It wasn't just like you'd seen them in Transformers. Like, I recognised voices. I didn't necessarily know where from because of how young I was. But I remember going, oh, that's, which was...
Nimoy for one.
Exactly. Like, my mum always used to watch Star Trek whenever I went round. Because it was always on a Sunday morning and I'd stay over, like, Saturday, Sunday. And so, like, early morning TV, there was Spock. And, yeah, you got Leonard Nimoy in it. And I was like, I know him. And all these big voices that were from other things for me. And it really took me into this, like, movie so much more. Now, previous to that, I hadn't had a lot of experience with watching the Transformers, just a few episodes here and there.
Yeah.
It was, I don't even know whether I'd seen it, actually, any of the cartoons at that point, in all honesty. I just got the toys. That was it.
Yeah.
And so I got, of course, Optimus Prime. And I remember as soon as we came out of the movie theatre, we went to a little store and they had the displays up for the Transformers. And I just remember going nuts. And, like, my grandmother was like, yeah, you can get a couple. And so it's a really nostalgic thing to look back on at this point, Transformers,
Definitely.
This huge movie that it's a very much a cult classic, but it's very much ingrained in a lot of society now.
Yeah.
But to us, it was just this, like, our toys come to life, or at least to me,
Yeah.
Like, it was seeing them on that big screen and, like, wow. And like I say, you got voices from other shows to put into the toys that we had, and it was just this. It made the whole world of Transformers that much bigger.
Yeah, definitely.
In a way that, like, I've never seen any other of my toys or anything do. Like, I've got He-Man and Masters of the Universe and all that.
Yeah.
But they weren't on the same value. Even when the movie of that came out, it wasn't anything like the Transformers movie, which is exactly what I'd seen with my toys put on the screen. And it was just like, wow. And every time that you played with the toys after that, it took you into the world. And that's what, like, I still collect all the figures and such now. And most of it is because of that love from that movie, Huge crying fit that I had. I think that's why I got the toys coming out, because you know what happened to Optimus.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Well, I do think that that's why my grandmother sort of took me to get. It was a store called John Mees, spelled John Menzies, but it's John Mees, and they had one in Warsaw, a fairly big one of these stores, not too far away from the cinema. And so, like as I say, I was having crying fits because of the whole thing. And like I said, my grandma took me and said, like, you can have any of them that you want. I think she let me have like up to 3 of the Transformers toys.
Yeah.
I remember getting a Bumblebee. I'm trying to think what else I got. I can't even remember now. I just remember having Bumblebee. And yeah, I can't remember the other figures that I had. Well, Transformers. And, but it was just a massive, massive change in how I saw things. And then, like, I think that's actually stayed in society quite a lot.
Yeah.
Transformers has done more for the toy range and the toy industry.
It has far any branches, definitely.
Yeah, than any other like TV show or.
I tell you one thing that really got me with, like you sort of saying, references and callbacks and things like that to the film. Yeah. I was playing Saints Row 4 when it first came out, so I completely avoided all spoilers, anything like that. I got it like day it came out. Sat and blitzed all the way through it, and right at the back end of it, it actually does the one shall stand, one shall fall speech as you're going in to fight the last boss. And I just sat there and I was like, Transformers reference in Saints Row. What the fuck? It just completely blew me away. But it was like, if you look at the rest of the game, it is like a lot of everything within that game is very much a throwback to everything 1980s. You know, it's got Roddy Piper in it with Keith David recreating the fight from They Live. So come on, I mean, it was just one of those things. And I think Transformers is, I think personally for me, the first viewing of the film and all that kind of thing, I've talked about this a few times. The earliest memory I have is I had it on a VHS cassette tape that my dad had recorded off of TV for me. And I know it's Christmas because it had adverts, because it was on TV, and they were all Christmas adverts. And I just remember that this videotape for years was my favourite videotape. It was in a worn-out silver case with a little bit of masking tape along one edge that just said, Transformers movie. That was it. And I wore that damn thing out. But I think not only is it because it's Transformers that it's kind of lasted and had the staying power that it's had, I think it's because it came out smack in the middle of the 80s, and 80s nostalgia is huge at the minute.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing more Transformers t-shirts with like prints of the original film on it now than I ever have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they are kind of doing a big marketing push for the 35th, but also I feel like kind of our generation is kind of where the money is for a lot of them.
Definitely.
We're the first generation really that's gone back and bought the toys again from our childhood. Like, we felt it's okay to do that, you know? Whereas like our parents, I know that my mother wouldn't have bought toys that she'd had when she was a kid if she saw them again, you know?
Yeah.
Especially like, because we don't just display them, let's face it. We do like do the poses and we have them out of the box, and there's more to it, you know?
Just look at my display.
I can't. You're an ice block on. You're on an ice block on my screen. I don't know what Skype's doing. No one's a cat. No one's a cat.
Someone told me to chill out, so I took it literally.
But yeah, I can't see anything behind you guys, unfortunately. I'm not sure if you can see anything behind me.
I can see Merry Christmas and the lights going, so.
Yeah, it's a hell of a setup. I'm into it.
Thank you.
So we'll quickly throw it over to Thew, kind of recapping your first instance of the movie.
Well, I don't know, because of the YouTube thing I do, I'm kind of thinking about Transformers all the time.
Yes.
So it's kind of what I do. So like my memories of it have become a bit muddled. Because you hear stories like from other people like, oh, I was traumatized. And you're like, oh, I suppose I was as well then.
Yeah.
But like, I don't really know. My main memory of the movie is that we did have the for a treat. It was rare that we got like, a proper video, but we did did get the VHS copy with this artwork on, and this still doesn't look right to me because it was a U, the little green U.
Yeah.
But this is the version with the swearing in, so they had to make it a PG. But my brother still has that tape actually, but we watched it constantly because it's a thrill, and regardless of having to leave the room when Optimus Prime died, and sort of making it a comfortable thing. It's the kind of movie that when it wraps up, you just want to watch it again.
Yeah,
because it's so. And I watched it with somebody who was watching it for the first time recently, and they were just like, "This is relentless," because it goes at such a clip. It's only 86 minutes.
Yeah,
and, there's so much in that film that the fact that it became so sort of comfy. Looking back, it's kind of mad now.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, Spike, with your toys coming to life on the screen and you can assign voices to them and that.
Yeah.
That was very true. One of the big ones that we had was Ultra Magnus at the time.
I remember had that Christmas.
It's a wonderful toy. I still have. It's not the same one, but I still have one.
I've got one knocking about somewhere, and I remember getting it for the Christmas actually. And I woke up. My grandma always used to put my toys onto my bed on late Christmas Eve, early Christmas morning. Around about 4 a.m. she'd do it. She'd stay up for the night, bring in this huge sack of toys.
That's Spike. That was Father Christmas.
Yeah. And
That's
I remember
dedication.
waking up and seeing this Ultra Magnus, but I unwrapped it, of course, and this Ultra Magnus toy, and sitting there and just going and transforming it, and then and transforming it back. And my mother was around to see me open the presents, and she commented, I spent literally the whole day reading the instructions on how to transform that, and I still didn't quite get it, and you've done it in 30 seconds. I'm they're designed for kids, though, aren't they? We were into them.
It's kid brain.
Yeah, exactly. They were really great for that.
Definitely. The toys very much, but I've always said that to me, the toy was almost like the less nerdy version of a Rubik's Cube. You wouldn't be seeing in the playground futzing with a Rubik's Cube, but you both had a truck that turned into a robot.
Yeah. It's a similar motor function, but also it's got a laser gun. Brilliant.
Yeah. So has your cube got a gun? No, then it's shit.
I did used to take a Rubik's Cube to school with me, just to be honest with you. I love Rubik's Cube. I still love it now.
Rubik's Cube, I'm just saying in comparison, I'd rather have a Transformer. But,
no shade.
No shade at all. But springboarding off what Thew was saying about it's really, the film's really intense. That actually leads quite nicely into my next point. I want to talk about the intro, not the music part. I mean the introduction of Unicron. Those first few minutes up to the titles and when the credits roll and the music starts playing, those first few minutes, the first time you see that, if you know anything about Transformers kind of going into it, you do kind of get taken back the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the music is so powerful, and just the way when it eats the planet and the ring lights up.
I was about to say, the illustrations, the animation there for me, as you know, I'm an illustrator.
Of course.
I've always loved that sort of thing, which is why I became one. It was around about that time when I really started to notice those. And I think Transformers was a big one where I saw it and I was like, wow, it's pretty. It was that scene. I remember seeing it and I was just like, that. Previous to that, I'd seen Bambi and things like that, and they got nothing on that scene to me. That was
it sets the tone for the whole film going forward as well. In my opinion, it's if literally an entire planet is fucked.
Yeah.
Not much hope going forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is going to be vicious. You're introduced to first of all, the fact that there are robot babies.
Yeah.
And then this planet is powerful enough to just eat them all within 20 seconds. And then you have the privilege of watching them being digested.
Yeah. It's really quite grim for an opening. Like I said, it's really kind of ominous and menacing with the music and the visuals and the colours, the pinks and the blues and all that. It's just so... the director, wow. you know, proper praise to him for, you know, putting it together that way. But I just thought it was so, especially for a kids movie, that, you know, really did power in. And then, of course, you kick in with the music and you go to the zero and you get the cool graphic as you're going in. You know,
the whole scene there is just big. That's the only way you can describe it. Like,
yeah.
There's so much going on, and it's so cataclysmic. It's like, yeah, this is a big moment. And
then the music.
I hadn't seen anything like that for a kids thing.
Yeah.
Before that.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, the just that visual, the very, it's like the first shot of the film, just with the twin suns, and one of them, like the big blue sun, and then Unicron comes past.
Yes.
And when it sort of buzzes the camera, it's like there's already so much going on. It's like, you know, you're in for a hell of a ride.
Yeah, it was a real roller coaster of a movie, like, and it's a kids movie, you know. It's like what?
But they're robots. It doesn't count.
Exactly.
But it does, damn it.
That's how they got away with it, though. Let's face it. Like, if they'd have had it so that was He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and that was happening to characters like that, actual humanoid characters, it would have been, ooh, you need to scale that back. You know?
It's funny you should mention that, actually. At the same time that Transformers was being made, the G.I. Joe movie was in production. And the original idea towards the end of that film was that I think it's Duke was going to get killed off by having a snake spear thrown at his chest and hit him in the heart. Because of the backlash of Transformers, because G.I. Joe was literally like weeks away from coming out, because of the backlash of Optimus Prime's death in the Transformers, Hasbro quickly went to the animation department and went, "We need to keep him alive, put him in a coma." Like in the next scene, you can see the animation almost sort of. It's like that thing in The Simpsons where Poochie leaves.
Yeah.
Like you see the animation freeze, and it's like Duke's in a coma. It's like they literally just animated.
He'll be fine.
And it's like, oh, brakes on hard on that one. But it's funny that kind of had the knock-on effect. It's like, I think Hasbro, again talking about the death of Optimus Prime from Hasbro's perspective, they really didn't understand how much the character meant to the fans. Yeah. They saw it as, you know, this is a 90-minute toy commercial. We're getting rid of all the old product, bringing on all the new stuff, show off all the new characters, boom, job done. But they didn't realize that the reason why kids were going absolutely crazy for these figures and the cartoon and anything to do with Transformers wasn't because it was the next big hit. It wasn't this year's, you know, wow factor. It wasn't that. It was the fact that they saw in some of the characters within the show things that they wanted to emulate.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of people they wanted to be. It taught quite strong moral lessons that people still carry now. And yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but that's kind of where I was going with it. Was that Hasbro didn't understand. They didn't understand what Optimus Prime meant to people.
Yeah.
And when they did, and see, we talked about this in a previous episode, they had to slap on like home video releases, like right at the end, just like voiceover of, "Don't worry, Optimus Prime's coming back." You know, they had to
backpedal. Of them all will return.
Yes,
don't cry.
They backpedaled so hard on that one, just like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. But from a business standpoint, you can see what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, sure, but like now, at this point, with hindsight, you know, it was bold, if nothing else. But we're now lumbered with a generation of people who despise Hot Rod because they think he killed Optimus Prime, and it's really tiring.
I always fight Hot Rod's corner because I want to say this without sounding like a complete bitch, but his character was completely designed to be that hot-headed young dickhead, essentially. You know, the one who was going to throw himself into a fight no matter what, you know, like, fuck consequences, I want to fight. And that's what he did, and it cost Optimus his life. But then you see throughout the rest of the film, he's thrown up against all these things, and unlike Ultra Magnus, who goes, "I can't deal with that now," goes in, gets it done, and comes out the other side. And I think by the end of it, he kind of earned the right to be a Prime. But that's my opinion.
Yeah. I think that's true, yeah. But I think a lot of people found it difficult to swallow, obviously, because Optimus was like the dad of the Transformers.
Yeah.
And everyone loved his deep man voice and all the wonderful things he'd say.
Right. Just
yeah.
That.
And then like being introduced to Hot Rod like through his death.
Yeah, it is a hard pill to swallow.
I mean, we love him now, but yeah, you can see why everybody was mad about it.
I must admit, as a child, I was very much like, I love Hot Rod as much as I hate him. Like the design for me was just, I had like, the design of the vehicle, the robot mode. I loved it. But he cost Optimus his life, so fuck you. It was very like, I love you, but I hate you.
Yeah, Hot Rod for me, it was the design of him. Like as soon as I saw the shape of the vehicle and everything, and then I remember that scene where he's like racing along, and I'm like, that's so cool. And it wasn't long after. Like that may have been one of the toys I picked up, like the small Hot Rod that you could get at the time. I remember I had that pretty much straight after the movie, if not like on the way back from. That could have been one of the ones I picked up. I'm not sure now, 'cause it's so long ago. But I remember getting it.
I got my G1 Rodimus.
I've got the Rodimus, but I haven't got the little one anymore that I used to have. And
you? Any Hot Rods in your collection?
I think I've got all of them. Yeah. I'm not a major Hot Rod like stan or anything, but I do have I have the G1 and I have the G1 Hot Rod and Optimus Prime, and I've got the latest Studio Series Hot Rod too. He's over there.
Oh yeah.
Extraordinary figure.
That's
one moment.
But there was they did a Kingdom Rodimus as well as you know, Callie.
I've got it down here. Yeah.
But no, I had
worth the cash.
Oh, for sure. But I had a weird time with the toys of the new characters.
Yeah.
Is everyone just leaving? Am I?
Sorry, I have to get a drink.
All right.
Sorry. I left it over there.
Thew starts speaking and everyone walks off. Cheers.
It was my lack of prep. Being useless. But yeah.
I've got one of my favourite figures ever. Now, I wanted this thing. Like, I never had one as a kid. And I always wanted this particular one. Never, ever could get one. And especially couldn't get one in later life that I liked the look of until I saw this one. And I was like, I need it. It wasn't cheap. It's not a cheap one. But...
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Is that... It's not X-Transbots of Polyon, is it?
No. This is the Waizhang Megatron.
Oh, okay.
It's the upscaled one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns into a full 1-to-1 scale handgun.
It's so 1-to-1.
with scope that, as you can see, it all lights up and all that. And also, you've got the silencer and the stock and everything for it. Unfortunately, I haven't got those like put separately because otherwise my kids get to them and lose them.
Yeah, you don't want that to happen.
Exactly. It's just an amazing figure. Megatron, I don't know. I'm weird. I like the bad guys and things.
Yeah, I love Megatron. We love we love a villain.
Yeah.
Of course. Got to root for the bad guys occasionally. I mean, sometimes the bad guys are right. I mean, Thanos.
But yeah, for me,
elaborate.
That's an iconic figure.
I watched Hawkeye and it sprayed on the wall in graffiti. Thanos was right.
Oh, so Thanos is right as a sentence is now a reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't caught up with Hawkeye. Our girl's in it though, isn't it? Haley from Bumblebee, she's in it.
Yes.
It's not bad. It's a bit too much like buddy cop, but the kiddie version of a buddy cop thing for me. It's not the Hawkeye that like the characters deserve. Just like Black Widow movie wasn't really what that character deserved. You know, like if you compare it to Iron Man and Captain America and all those that got like the big movie that actually felt like it was an ode to them. Hawkeye just feels like it's a passing of the torch, much like the Black Widow thing did. It's we're done with this character. This is who you're meant to be looking at. And it's like, We never got the actual thing that showed us, like, I mean, a Ronin movie would have been excellent rather than a Hawkeye series so much.
Yeah, but you got to phase out the current product line and get in the new shit, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it is just that. Yeah, it's like
Marvel, Hasbro, it's all the same these days.
So what you're saying is that Jeremy Renner is Optimus Prime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of is, actually.
Well, if that makes Haley the new Rodimus, then I'm okay with that.
I'll take it.
Right, quickly moving on, we're going to go to might be a nice little subject: the birth of Galvatron.
Yes.
Any thoughts?
There was one.
I've
got Galvatron.
I've got that one.
That's my contribution to the toy. The toy showing off.
Oh yeah,
I have one of those. End of.
I remember coming home on the bus from Warsaw, and one of my friends was on said bus, and he got the Galvatron toy, the one that lit up at the time and made all the noises.
He really got awful sound effects.
Yeah, that's the one.
Strange. One of the strangest Transformers figures for me. Very odd.
It doesn't. It was the first one that didn't look like anything in particular.
Yeah.
You know, like I saw it and I was like, "What's it meant to be?" Like all the others, that's a car, that's a truck, that's a fire truck, that's an ambulance. You know, you could see what they were. And Galvatron, it was like, what is it?
Well, this is the thing. This is the issue I have with a lot of the 1986 toys.
Yeah.
Is like, what does Cup turn into? Like, what is that? And it's the same with like Blur and Springer's kind of half-assed triple change thing.
Yeah.
I appreciate, like, now I appreciate the sort of sci-fi anime energy that they have.
Yeah.
But at the time, as a successor to like Trailbreaker, and like Soundwave, they look like silly bollocks for kids.
Yeah.
And look, I'm aware that saying that about toys is a silly thing to say, but like there's no basis in the real world for what they are.
Yeah. It's
And
because of where the Transformers originally came from. They're like the toys that were over in Japan and whatnot at the time. They're what spawned Transformers. And they were like very weird things that would just turn into a robot. Yeah. And like, of course, Hasbro saw it and went, let's do that with cars. And then for some reason they reverted. I think they must have gone like, okay, we've done all the cars. What do we do now? And so you started getting those, and it was like, yeah, what is it?
Okay. Take it straight to space. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just.
I mean, we already had like dinosaurs and that. But
the thing is, like, I mean, I love. I was showing Kelly the other day. Like, I've got the Grimlock, the masterpiece Grimlock that came out, the first one that came out, whenever it was. I can't remember which number.
I think it was about 2010 that came out.
Yeah.
Horrifying to think about, but yeah, that was 11 years ago.
That. I think it was about 2008. This one, I think. Don't quote me, but I'm sure it was somewhere around there because I was with my ex at the time. So I'm like,
probably more like that.
Yeah, it may have been slightly later, like 2009, but it wasn't too far away. And like, I remember like getting it and going like, oh, this is the one that I loved because I did love all the Dinobots. And then, as you say, those ones, I never related to them. I couldn't empathize with them. They were just things. And it's like...
Yeah. What is Cyclonus?
Yeah. Like, what the is it? You know?
We love it, but...
What?
Give me a break, mate.
I mean, I think the only one who kind of stepped out of the film relatively unscathed in terms of, like, toy production and that kind of stuff was Retgar, really, because it was recognizable as a motorbike.
Yeah.
You could kind of gravitate. It was a Mad Max looking motorbike.
It was stylized.
Yeah, but you know, looking at it like you were saying, like you look at Cyclonus and it's like,
Yeah.
What do you
to
do?
this day? Scourge. Is it a boat?
It looks like a bar of soap with a handle. That's what it looks like to me. Or I heard someone on a review once refer to it as a space slipper. And I was like, looking at it, space slipper. Yeah. I can go with that one. But I think the thing that I liked in the movie for Galvatron was Leonard Nimoy, the voice. It was one of those things that, watching it as a kid, like Spike was saying earlier, watching things like Star Trek and things like that growing up, seeing the name Leonard Nimoy appear on the screen was like, Spock?
Yeah.
You know, and it's just little recognisable. I mean, of course, now those names are absolutely legendary, you know. I'll tell you the one that really made me laugh. My parents used to watch Unsolved Mysteries. And Ultra Magnus was in Unsolved Mysteries. And the first time they put an episode on, I'm sat in my front room, it's on in the background, and he starts talking. And I'm playing with my Transformers at that point, and I just looked and went, it's Ultra Magnus! Like, my parents were like, who? I'm like, the one from the... Never mind.
It's over your head.
Yeah, it's like, I'll lose you in about 30 seconds, so just, you carry on watching.
Yeah, what bother?
Yeah. The first time I ever saw Robert Stack in anything was Airplane.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
He's hilarious in that. Just the moment where he takes his glasses off, he's got other glasses underneath. You could totally see Ultra Magnus doing that.
And on the way into the airport, just punching out everybody on his way in. Oh, dear. Dear.
That'd be an IDW Magnus moment.
Oh, yeah, just...
He's really good at fighting.
Yeah.
Nice discussion on the Birth of Galvatron there. We completely got off track, didn't we?
Yeah, well, you know.
Anyway, it looks good when it happens. We like the animation when he's like sort of mummified in laser, and then you see Megatron's guts.
When he gets Megatron gets scanned, and then it goes over him again, and you literally like it's almost like it rips his face off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because you can see the eyes and everything like staring straight at. And I remember
like a cassette.
A little bit unnerved by that when I was a child. Like, yeah, I can see his bits there.
Yeah, a little bit too private.
Yeah, it's like, well, I just saw Megatron in a way I didn't want to see him. And that birthed 1,000 fanfics. Oops, I went there. Oh, dearie me.
Oh boy. You ever see that moment in Brooklyn Nine-Nine when your man's describing having sex with somebody with a prosthetic hip? He's like, oh, it was like having sex with a transformer, and the other one goes, that is no one's fantasy. Like, may I introduce my Twitter feed?
Yes. One character I do want to talk about that was introduced in the film, and I did do a little research on this. She was included in the movie as the first female Transformer, although they shoved something into an episode that came out before the film to kind of line up that, yeah, there's girl Transformers, but RC is officially the first female Transformer, and was included because writer, Ron Friedman, was insistent on having the character in because his daughter was a fan of Transformers. And Hasbro were pretty much adamant that, oh, girls don't watch Transformers, it's a boys' TV show. Not the case.
Yeah, clearly not.
So, thoughts on RC and her introduction in the film and the legacy she's had since then, I suppose.
Well, yeah. Do you want to go first, Mike?
RC was essentially just one of the Transformers. It was another awesome, like, Autobot, you know?
Yeah. And that's
I mean, like...
Oh, on to you. You go first.
No, it's just like in the movie, they don't really... I mean, apart from her appearance, like, she's pink and she's got high heels and titties and the Princess Leia buns and that, but like in the movie it's not really, they don't really play up the fact that she's a girl that much. No. She has that sort of ooh moment with like, ooh, you better stay close to me, and it's a little bit saucy, but like apart from that, she's just kind of one of the gang, isn't she?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was really cool because she just instantly felt like part of the family, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't played upon like that's the girl, stay away, or anything like that. It was like, yeah, she's one of the Transformers, so she's a good guy. You like her, you know? Yeah, cool. Okay, I'm fine with that.
And, yeah. So, touching on what Thew said, the bit with the, you know, oh, you better stay close to me. I think that was actually quite a very, very subtle, almost female empowerment kind of thing. Because right before that, Hot Rod has just caught her from falling or something, and says, you better stay close to me. Then they get blasted at. She saves his ass and says, no, you better stay close to me. And that just implies, I'm going to survive this. You're not. She's proper just like rubbing it in his face like, I'm tougher than you. Fuck off.
To me, it was rather than I'm tougher than, it was like, I can hang just as good as if you.
Kind of what I meant.
It was very much an equal footing thing. Like, it was almost as if they were demonstrating that, okay, she's going to need to be saved, but so are they. And
everyone's in equal amounts of trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's fucked. Don't worry about it.
That's kind of one of the themes of the film, isn't it? Like, oh shit, what are we going to do now? The movie.
Yeah, that should have been the tagline. But I think the way the film handled the introduction of the character was absolutely perfect. Like both of you said, there was no fuss, no muss, no explanation. It was just there, boom, she's in, she's there, carry on.
Yeah, she shows up with the other 6 characters they're introducing.
Exactly. And I think that is the right way to do it, unlike the way that the Marvel comics here in the UK handled it. And please tell me both of you know this story.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Marvel UK just dropped the ball on pretty much everything they ever did, though, let's face it.
Well,
I don't know if I agree with everything, but definitely this one.
Yeah, it was a big like, oh shit.
I can't think of anything that I particularly enjoyed from Marvel UK over the US versions of things, Marvel UK just never sat right. And I don't mean just Transformers, I mean like all the other series as well. They frequently would do things that I was just like, that doesn't seem in keeping with like these characters or this ethos kind of thing to this series. And then it would be retconned in the American ones or something, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, kind of an admission.
Yeah.
For me, though, the best thing about the Marvel UK comics was Combat Colin.
Oddly enough, we could call our friend Combat Colin because he always wears combats.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Every time I see him, he's got combats on, so that's going to be his nickname, Combat Colin.
Well, he didn't show up for this, so that's his life ruined.
Yeah. we wish you a speedy recovery, Colin, wherever you are.
And your combats.
Yes.
Say hi to Semi-Automatic Steve.
Why does that sound like a porn actor name?
I suppose it works along with Machine Gun Kelly, doesn't it?
That's his backup singer.
Yeah. Oh no.
The Machine Gun Kelly tribute act. We have to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Join us next time on the podcast for. Oh, right. Okay. Let's try and keep this on topic, shall we? Christ alive. We've talked about some of the characters that were pulled into dropped in the film and gone, here, look, new toys, buy them. Who was your favourite out of the new ones that were introduced? Like, who do you think has stuck around and kind of made an impact just as a character? Not so much storylines, but just one character that from the movie, you think of the film, they pop in your head kind of thing.
Ultra Magnus.
I hate to say it, but yeah, Ultra Magnus for me as well.
I can actually slightly disqualify that one because Ultra Magnus' first appearance was actually in
Scramble City, right.
Boom, there we go, thank you.
But
I knows their trivia.
Yeah,
come on.
Me, the movie was the introduction of that character and many of the others.
I mean, nobody's seen Scramble City. Come on.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Chris McFeely's seen it, and that's it.
Like I said, I would have disqualified it, but like you guys, I hadn't seen Scramble City, so for me, Ultra Magnus, the first time I saw him was the movie, and I remember the first time going, who's that? That's not Optimus. Did Optimus fall in Bleach?
Yeah.
It very much was like that, actually. It's like, the trailer was so different, and that's one thing that I liked. And I liked with the toy how like the trailer and everything fit together to make like the Ultra Magnus.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? I think that was one of my favorite. It was just a shame that it wasn't posable in any way once you'd done that. That was the thing that left me with it.
Well, so many of them weren't though. Like
exactly.
Hot Rod wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
he had arms and that was it. I mean,
I was about to say the OG Rodimus Prime. Once you've got him transformed, it's literally this kind of thing, and that's it.
That's,
that's not what we like G1 for, though, is it?
Exactly.
No, we just like the way they look.
Yeah,
it is
cool.
That,
they represent the time.
That it was a very iconic look as well for Ultra Magnus, especially. But I remember sort of transforming it, sitting in bed, like going like, because it was a massive toy, really, like for a kid at least. You know, I mean, it's probably like that big actually, but I remember it being like huge when I was a little kid, and like going like, wow, and then going like, oh, he doesn't do anything now. Okay. And then immediately losing the head.
Yeah.
I must admit, being a kid and doing like little toy fights with your Transformers is like, I'm going to shoot you, Megatron. Boom.
Yeah.
Well, he's dead. We win. Yay!
Oh, let's serve Optimus. Oh.
I'd have to say, for me, favourite character introduced in the film, I kind of have a top 5 that I'd say. And
we're doing top 5s.
We can, we'll do top 5 characters. Fuck it, go on then. Top 5. I'll go first. My show. I'd have to say for me, number 1, RC, just because
I do love RC.
Some of the storylines they've done in later comics, especially the IDW stuff, just hits very close for me. And I already had a love for the character. And then when I found all of that out as well, I was just like, now I love the character more. So, number 1. Number 2, Hot Rod, of course. Galvatron. Fuck you. Unicron and Cop. Just Cop right at the bottom because he was crotchety. He was a crotchety old fart, but he's one of those crotchety old farts you can't help but love.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
You know, he was very Uncle Albert. Joe Renoir. Yeah.
Oh my God, he is. Oh no, ruined.
That's it. Cop needs a big metal wool beard now to look like Uncle Albert.
Oh Jesus. Yeah,
might draw that later.
Give him a flat cap, please.
Yeah.
Flat cap beard. Joe Renoir. This Hot Rod dressed as Del Boy. Not now. Cool.
Back in the 1939 to 1994 kind I love that. You said during the war.
Right. Thew, your top 5.
Oh shit. Who is there again?
There were robots. What?
Oh Christ. Top 5. Let me say love Wreck-Gar.
Oh yeah.
I didn't love him at first. I thought he was kind of stupid and annoying, but like that's what I like about him now. He's like everything he says, like his voice lines, it's just nonsense. If you really try and figure out what he's saying, it is bollocks.
Yeah.
And it's magic that he gets his own spotlight scene, and like I love what they've done with him in the meantime as well. Like in Transformers Animated, they brought him back with Weird Owl voicing him.
Yeah. Yes, I remember that. Yeah. See, the connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric Idle and Wreck-Gar. Eric Idle and Weird Al equals what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. And they made that make sense.
Yeah, it fit. It somehow.
But oh god, it is so jarring though, isn't it? When we go from like everybody's dead, Ultra Magnus is blowed up, and then like they've just witnessed people getting thrown into a pit of sharks, and then they come down and just have a dance party.
Yeah. Okay. Just in the middle of war.
Yeah.
Even Grimlock gets in on the action.
It was the 80s, man.
Yeah, they're on the planet of junk after all.
Well, yeah, why not? If you're gonna dance, you might as well dance while there's fuck all to lose.
Oh my god. Isn't that the mood of 2021?
Oh, fuck yes.
Top 5 anyway. Wreck-Gar. Oh Christ. Cup. Wheelie. Sure. Don't you hate Wheelie? I'll put him in the top 5 just for controversy.
Yeah. Controversial top 5 pick. Wheelie. What's his second name? Bin.
Damn, that's cold.
No, that's just where all of his figures ended up.
Oh.
Now that's cold.
God, G1 Wheelie is a nightmare though, with his face like under the flap. It's horrific. Number 2, Ultra Magnus, and number 1, the guy in the acid pit going, oh!
Oh yeah. Again, we need a vinyl statue of that.
Yes, please.
We talked last time about the composite Ratchet Megatron fused together as a statue.
Oh yeah, I would like
we need
the cauldron with just the guy's head poking out, going oh, and turning pink and into goop.
Yeah.
That was the real nightmare scene for me.
Actually, better idea. Release it as a candle. As you melt it, you light it, it just slowly does it recreates the scene in slow motion.
I would pay for that.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
Right, I'm emailing Hasbro in the morning. You know what Transformers the movie merchandise really needs? A horrifying candle. Right.
Jesus Christ.
Your top 5? If you have.
Ultra Magnus, Hot Rod, RC, Unicron, and Wreck-Gar, I'd say.
Yeah, we all
solid ranking.
We picked mostly the same, just in slightly different order. So
yeah, definitely Ultra Magnus at the top for me though.
Options are limited.
Well, yeah. they were. I mean, we could have just been lazy and gone the sweeps, all of them. Because let's face it, each one was made from a different Decepticon, so technically that's not cheating. You know, you want to be a right fucker about it. I suppose that brings us to the arse end of the film, the closing. The war is over. It wasn't. It started straight up again in season 3. The war was not over.
But the movie was over.
The movie was over, but yeah. But I feel that we should talk about the legacy that the film has had over the years. To my surprise, I didn't realise this until a few years ago. The film was actually a massive flop at the time of release.
Yeah.
But when you look at the cinemas at the time, round about the same kind of couple of month period, you had films like Aliens coming out, which, you know, one of the greatest sequels ever made, comes out the same weekend as Transformers the movie. Which one's going to win?
Yeah, it was kind of foregone from the top. Well, 1986, it was a big movie, a big year for movies, rather.
It really was. It really was a ram-packed year. So it's not surprising that it flopped. I think maybe if it had come out a year earlier or possibly a year later, might have fared a little bit better. But then again, Hasbro looked at it as a 90-minute toy commercial, and they thought, we'll just put it out there, the kids will go and see it.
Exactly.
You know, they didn't give it much push.
They didn't take into account that parents might not take the kids because they've gone to see something themselves that day or the day before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It did, apparently, though, it did stay in the top 20 for 14 weeks.
See, it's a shame when you've got statistics like that and you go, it's a flop, and it's like, well, to be fair, in what way was it a flop though? Is it a flop because it didn't make the budget that
it didn't make the budget back. It didn't even get half of its initial budget back.
Yeah.
So oh my god.
Yeah, it was. I think it was something like 8 point something odd million to make, and even including home video releases, it barely scraped by 5 million.
Oh my god.
It was literally like just over making half of its budget back. And that's why all the studios went, nah, flop. But,
that's amazing.
But you look back at it now, and it's one of the most remembered films.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's me for me personally. I mean, I know there's probably a lot of films that have been on like every kind of format you can possibly get them on, but for me, Transformers has always been one of those films that just every couple of years I'll walk into HMV or Asda or somewhere like that, somewhere that sells DVDs and Blu-rays and things like that, and I'll see like a new version's just come out for it because it's like an anniversary edition or something like that, and I'm like, literally, like every time a new media format comes out, boom, it's there.
Yeah.
Like pretty much straight away, quite early on, and it's just like it must have some kind of appeal and draw power.
Absolutely.
Not just for the nostalgia people like us. I mean, I remember showing the film to my daughter, and she loved it to the point where she actually borrowed my Gen 1 box set, watched it all through in one night, and then started on unfortunately, on the Bay films. But it was the only Transformers content I had in the house at the time. But it was good that just showing her the film sparked an interest.
Exactly.
So, but that's my view on it. Your guys' opinions?
I mean, it does have a certain staying power, doesn't it? Because it's such a sort of a time capsule of sort of Reagan era, just brazen capitalism on the screen. But also, like it is just, it's so much fun to watch, and it's fun to discuss. There's so much sort of depth of like backstory to the film itself, and you know, not to forget the friggin' soundtrack.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean,
that was going to be my last talking point. The soundtrack.
Okay. We'll come back to the.
We'll reel off on that one. So carry on.
All right, sure. I mean, yeah, like maybe they're still trying to recoup some of the budget by re-releasing it every couple of years.
Yeah.
But clearly there's a lot of love for it, and you know, the money's out there. You got to go get it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's out there now, evidently. But also, like they're with the studio series figures they're putting out, and Masterpiece and everything. Clearly, there is, you know, enduring love. And the centerpiece of the Transformers franchise from the 80s is this film.
Yeah.
That is the single most sort of remembered piece of media that has ever come from a franchise which is already doing all right.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend Rory about this the other day, and the one thing that I've we correlated together because I do the Power Rangers podcast with him, and we were just, you know, chatting random crap. We kind of got on the conversation that Transformers is basically the 80s equivalent to the Power Rangers. Power Rangers in the 90s was this big, massive thing. It went from like this little TV show to a movie quite quickly, and then has had a lasting legacy. And it's very much the same with the Transformers. It started in, 84? Started in 84. 2 years later, there's a film. And it's pretty much been around ever since then. There's been ups and downs, as we know. But it's always been kind of a constant in the background, like pop culture-y thing.
Yeah.
So I think that is kind of the legacy of Transformers and Power Rangers, is that because they had such a meteoric rise, they left an imprint and a memory. It's something that different generations can look back at and go, I was there when that first happened. So.
You could say the same thing about Ninja Turtles as well.
Very much so.
Yeah, definitely. I think I bounced between Transformers and Ninja Turtles. There was many a time where Leonardo would get kicked in the crotch by Optimus Prime. So, you know, you like pizza? Have a pizza this.
Hey-oh.
Spike, your thoughts on the legacy of the Transformers the movie?
Well, as I said, it's something that really changed a heck of a lot of the way that kids saw their toys, especially. And I think toy manufacturers quickly cottoned onto that, which is why we got the Masters of the Universe movie and why we got the Turtles movie so quickly. Because Transformers was the first one to really go like, okay, bang. And yeah, it may not have done well as a movie, but the toys definitely did. Yeah. They exploded even further. They were already popular, but all of a sudden, every kid needed Transformers. Yeah. And I think a lot of the product lines manufacturers sort of noticed that, and I think that's a lot of the legacy for how the toys are done now. I know it's Star Wars that essentially started it off.
Oh yeah.
Transformers were the ones where it showed that you didn't necessarily need subsequent movies and everything to push that. If you got one starting piece that like stuck out for the kids, they'd cotton onto it and they'd grab on, and like it would stay with them for life, as it has with us.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think like the toy manufacturers are a massive part of the legacy of like that movie.
Yeah, definitely. And
well,
so
the difference with Star Wars is that the toys were sort of a byproduct of the film.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
with Transformers, the film was a byproduct of the toys.
Yeah.
It sort of proved that you could take a silly little toy from Japan and turn it into a media empire.
Exactly.
With that as the seed.
That's sort of what I mean. That now I think that they actually, from that point on, they actually looked and went, right, what toys can we make from this movie first? Like, that's why I point out, like Masters of the Universe, if you think about it, there were certain things that it was very much, that's been put in there just to make a toy of that.
Oh,
like,
for real, yeah.
And all that, you know?
I mean, that's part of the legacy as well. It's a 19-minute toy commercial.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the one thing I will say, kind of relating toys to the franchise, I will say now that what really impresses me, especially for the younger generation that are just getting into Transformers, they don't have that issue we had when we were younger. That we'd look at what was in our hand and we'd look at what was on screen, and they weren't the same thing. Whereas now, I think that the toys have got as close to the on-screen models as they're probably going to get, because toy engineering has got to that level where they can do that kind of thing. And I think it's brilliant that little kids now will look at their Optimus Prime and they'll look up on the screen and they'll be like, that's what I've got.
I think actually in a couple of years, like you'll see that's changed quite a lot again.
Yeah.
That was evident with the Optimus Prime that we got just a few months back. It was actually out. The one that was self-transforming and all that.
Oh, yeah. The one you have to tell it to convert and not transform, which has pissed off most of the fan base.
Yeah. I think
Nerdageddon Part 2.
More of that into the toys as time goes on. Because, of course, like you always get that one piece that's really expensive and like it's a proof of concept. And then as the technology becomes more widely available, that's when you see it roll down. And I do think we're going to get a few more of those in the future.
Give it 20 years, Japan will have actual Transformers. We won't need the toys.
Yeah, it's right.
So, you'll go with
that. See that Gundam?
Yes, I have. Wow.
It's right. Interesting you were talking about toy accuracy there, because I think in I don't know if this is appropriate for like a kids viewing, but in the Netflix War for Cybertron trilogy they put out this year, I'm pretty sure all the character models for that were based off. I think they used the same CAD files that they used to when the toys were produced. Mm-hmm. So they're visually identical.
Yeah, exactly.
But the lacking item there is kid appeal, because those shows are boring as shit.
Yeah. I must admit, I watched that with one of my friends, and we were on the first episode, and we're getting up to the bit where Ultra Magnus is introduced. And I turned around to him and I told him the story that literally like what you see on screen is like what the toy is like. And trust me, the toy of Ultra Magnus has got some serious junk in the trunk. And he's like, and he just goes, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, just wait till you see him walk away from Optimus Prime." And it gets to that scene where he walks away from Optimus Prime, and my mate sat on my sofa and went, "Jesus," because he's just literally got like the bumper of his truck mode sticking off of his ass, and it's just like, damn, you did not skip butt day, did you? Excuse me.
Never skip butt day.
Right. Final talking point to cover up, because we're hitting the hour mark now. The soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yay! Colin was going to be here to talk about this one. Boo, Colin, you didn't show up.
We can manage.
Yes, so the soundtrack, seeing as Spyk and Thew are both more musically minded than me, I will let you both take the lead on this one. Thew, you can go first.
Oh, thanks. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just pure sort of 80s pump up jams from the offset, and like I think it probably did contribute a bit to like being a metal fan later in life.
Definitely.
Because it's just like nothing's gonna stand in our way, man. That song is the ultimate pump up jam.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just about like living fast and like not giving a fuck, and just like the guitars are screeching, and it's sort of I don't know, and it's all offset by this amazing sort of synth work from Vince DiCola and that. Like all the incidental music is just dynamite sort of keyboard prog madness.
Yeah.
And the whole movie is like set to it as well.
Yeah.
Like there's a moment later on.
It's really well.
Oh, for real. Like there's a moment that always sticks with me. It's the bit on the planet of junk where Daniel finally gets the exosuit to transform.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it, that's like perfectly cued with the music. Even his little chuckle, he goes, yeah, and that is like cued in with the music.
Yeah.
It's just so good. It's such perfect use of just incidental music. And
it's one of those movies where you bop along as you sort of you're like, yeah, kind of thing. You pumped up, like seeing what's on screen and like hearing it so much that, like I say, you bop in your head with it, and it's like kind of thing. It's really empowering.
Oh, it is, yeah. It does have a rhythm, and it's nothing but good, powerful vibes.
Exactly. It felt heroic. It's heroic music, you know.
You got the touch. Every time I hear that, I just picture Optimus Prime charging towards the Decepticons, mowing them down, and then farting to launch himself. Because that's what it looks like. If you mute that scene, it literally doesn't. He rolls over and goes. It's like he lit his own fart. It's like, hey, Bumblebee, watch this.
Oh yeah, it's true. We hate to say it, but that's a big flatulence scene.
It is.
When he reaches the crest of that jump, if you listen real close, you can hear something that sounds a lot like a belch.
Yeah. Then again, Optimus Prime, he's over 4 million years old. Maybe he's just doing that like dad thing when he gets off the sofa. I'd have to say one of my favourite tracks off the album is Dare.
Oh, yes.
I was actually listening to the soundtrack the other day, and it got to that track, and even without the film being on, the song itself just takes on a different meaning when it's outside the context of the film. Like, if you listen to the lyrics itself, it could apply to so much. Like, it is really a, believe in yourself, get out there, and you can do it kind of song. But then you match it with the film with Hot Rod, and it works. Yeah. It works brilliantly. But one little factoid I found out literally last night was the band on the CD is listed as Spectre General for a few of the songs. The band wasn't actually called Spectre General; they were called Kick Axe.
Yeah. They changed it without their knowledge.
You can't have a band called Kick Axe on a soundtrack. Like, it just will not work. We cannot market that to children. Which, not because of what it is, just because of what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But killing their childhood hero, that's perfectly fine in Hasbro's eyes.
Oh, yeah. We draw the line at a word that sounds a bit like ass.
Yeah, like, we'll put in the word shit, we'll kill your favourite hero, like, and not just kill him, but, like, kill him.
Yeah, he's
showing you. We'll hammer that point home until you're crying.
Yeah, it's a weird hill to die on, isn't it? Yeah. It's the word ass. Come on.
It's like,
no, the word axe, that's the worst part. It's not an ass, it's axe. But come on.
It's not even the real word.
Exactly. Makes no sense. But yeah, I mean, the soundtrack, the film, just absolutely everything about it, from my personal opinion, it's a childhood favourite. It was a teenage years favourite. It will probably be a favourite of mine when I'm in my 90s, if I make it that far. So, for me, for what it represents with Transformers and the legacy it has the impact it left behind with the characters and everything about it. I think it's one of those ones that even 20, 30 years from now, we'll still be talking about how important that film was to the franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right, we're going to wrap things up here now then, because we've been going for well over an hour.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's gone 10 o'clock. I need to get up early. But thank you both for joining me. This has been The Transformers, the podcast, episode 335 for the anniversary special. I've been Callie. Join me with the lovely Thew.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And I shall catch everybody in the next episode. Mwah. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise. Such heroic nonsense.